Hi, welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith, and in this video, I want to show you something that I'm excited about. This is the A case. Not excited yet? Fair enough. All right. Well, inside of this, I have 25 painted miniatures. 16 of these are metal Guild Ball miniatures that I painted myself, and it took me many days to finish them because I'm not a very practiced painter, but I'm reasonably happy with how they turned out. I also have 9 resin Arena Rex miniatures that my good friend Cole over at Peninsula Painting Services painted for me. Resin miniatures, as I've discovered, break very easily, and these in particular have all kinds of little thin pieces and joints. So here's what excites me about this case. I've wanted to travel with my miniatures, either taking them just to a friend's house down the road or to conventions. But I've been too afraid. I have foam carrying cases for miniatures, but frankly, the resin spears on some of these figures would all get caught in the foam and just snap off. I know that for a fact. Even my metal miniatures with some rough treatment may not hold up, especially on some of the weaker joints. And I spent too much of my time on these to risk anything happening to them. So really, it's not so much the case that excites me, but what I can do with it. I want to do this as all one continuous take, so you can see there's no camera trickery going on. In fact, I can even turn this upside down. Hear that shaking around in there? I'll tell you something, this does terrify me a little bit. I don't need to be worried because this is an A case, and I'm sure everything's fine in here. But I spent a lot of time on these miniatures, and I would hate to have something happen to them. And that's exactly what the A case is designed for, to keep your miniatures in place, protected, even when you're traveling and they might be facing some rigorous shaking or bumping around. And just so you can see, everything's still in one piece and relatively in the same positions. On my show, I don't review games, but I don't mind reviewing products if I feel I can demonstrate what they do so you know exactly what you're looking at. Now, this is a luxury item, certainly, and it's not inexpensive. We will talk about the price in just a moment. But first, I wanted to mention that this was sent to me free of charge by the company for the purposes of being able to present this video. And I agreed to do it because, well, I need something like this, and I was also curious to see whether or not it actually works. And I figured that's something I could then demonstrate to you, and that way, if this is something that you might be looking for, you can determine, hopefully for yourself, whether or not this would suit your needs. So with that out of the way, let's take a closer look at exactly how this works. The outside of the case is a padded, rain-resistant material. It has a handle here on the top, as well as a shoulder strap. On this side here, you'll find some Velcro. A lot of miniatures games will offer badges for the different factions or companies. If you want to stick those on the bag, you can. And on this side, we have an open pouch as well. This actually holds quite a bit of stuff. I've got, for example, here's the rules for Arena Rex and the unit cards for Guild Ball as well. And then tokens, all kinds of Guild Ball tokens, some Arena Rex tokens, movement templates, dice. You gotta have dice. There's the dice for Arena Rex, dice for Guild Ball, and all that fits into the pouch here. The bag contains this aluminum frame. It comes in pieces, but once you assemble it, and this doesn't require any gluing or drilling or anything like that, you simply just put the pieces together. And then once it's slid inside the bag, that holds everything together. And this also has 3 shelf units that slide out. And the height here is about 3 inches on each of these shelves, but if you had larger miniatures, you could just remove one of the shelves to make more room. I mentioned this was lightweight, and I've removed all the gaming components, so now it's just the bag and the frame, and as you can see, it weighs in at around 3 pounds. The secret to how all of this works, of course, is that these are magnetized to the trays. The case comes with 60 of these rare earth magnets, and then you just glue them to the bottoms of your miniatures, and they then snap in place, like so. See, I can shake it all around, move it all I want, and they don't go anywhere, which is great. Now, with some of the larger bases like this one, I actually attached 2 just because I was trying to be extra careful, but with resin that's so light anyway, I probably didn't really need it. But for larger models, you might want to just have that extra security. Earlier in the video, I showed all of these miniatures spread across 3 different shelves, but here's all 25 of them on the same shelf. And even though these have bases of varying sizes, this should give you a sense of just how many miniatures you could fit into this case. In fact, I imagine packing them more closely together like this is probably even more secure because then the magnets aren't likely to slide very much at all when you give it a big shake. Something else I think that's also worth mentioning is that with foam storage solutions, you either have to hope you can find pre-cut options that perfectly fit all your differently sized minis, or you have to use pluck foam and try to make sizes that fit for what you need, which in my experience has been less than successful. With this, it doesn't matter how oddly my miniatures are shaped, and I don't have to worry about the sharp edges of the miniatures sticking to the foam and then potentially snapping off when I try to remove them. I have to say that aspect alone, as someone who's stored miniatures in the past, is a big relief. I would want to point out, if you have larger miniatures, like this is a pretty heavy, bigger metal miniature, even though I have 2 magnets on the bottom, if I shake this, it's going to slide around. So you want to keep that in mind. This is not going to stop all movement of all your miniatures, no matter what size they are and weight. Obviously, there are limitations. And if I was traveling with my miniatures, I'd likely, if I was flying, for example, put this bag in a carry-on. I wouldn't necessarily trust the baggage handlers not to, drop kick it down the runway. I don't think this would survive in that situation. But again, it will survive a lot of rigorous movement here, and that's the most important part for me. I'm going to take care of the bag, but I just want to make sure normal and even maybe excessive movement isn't going to cause my miniatures any damage. There are 2 versions of this case. There's the Victory, which is what you see here, and there's also a single shelf option known as Hermes. And I'll put a link in the description of this video to the Army Case or A-Case website where you can check out both of these in more detail. The Victory version costs $130 US, but I'm happy to say that they've agreed to give our Watch It Played viewers a discount. If you put in the discount code WATCHITPLAYED, all one word, as you see on the screen right now, then you'll get 20% off. And this also includes shipping within Europe. So the $130 includes shipping within Europe. However, if you're shipping to North America, then that shipping cost would be extra, and you'd want to check and make sure that you're aware of what those costs would be. So it is not a cheap item, but I think when you consider this can house hundreds, potentially, of your miniatures that you've spent days, weeks, months, years painting, then this might very well be a very cheap price to protect all of that hard work. But of course, that's entirely up to you. I hope you found that this video has been informative. If you have any questions specifically about the product itself, it's probably best you direct those to the A-Case folks. And again, you'll find their information in the description of this video. But until the next episode, thanks for watching.